Welcome into the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. I'm Kay Donaldson, the director of the Alabama Bass Trail, and your host for this week's podcast. This is the podcast for the week of June 21st. And I'll just apologize now. Yes, we are a day late in getting this to the airwaves for you. But hey, life happens, and it's been a wild couple of weeks for this old gray mare right here. But we'll get into it. And before I do, I want to say today's flavor of Celsius is lemon lime. And if you, back in the day, your mom put those icy pops in the refrigerator, in the freezer for you, this tastes like the green ones. So it's really good. It's the first time I've tried this one. My favorite flavor is the green apple cherry. But this is pretty good. So let's get this podcast going. I was actually afraid with it sitting over to the side that you may think it's a White Claw or High Noon or something like that, but it's not. It's a Celsius. Not till 5 o'clock. Not till 5 o'clock. Um, Talking a little bit about it's been a while, 2 weeks, and a lot of you know if you live on social media world or you're kind of stay in that realm. Most of you know that on July the 7th, my mother was admitted into the hospital, in Decatur General Hospital for chest pains. She had a lot of nausea, very fatigued, but in true mama fashion, she was fine. Didn't really want to go to the doctor, and after my sister and I were informed of this at say 8:30 at night on Monday. We got there to find out this has been going on for a couple of weeks, and she had failed to tell us, didn't want to worry her little girls. So that's just kind of moms in general, I think, but our mom especially didn't want to worry her little girls, as she referred to us to the doctor. Most of you may know that just short of 2 years ago, I experienced this with, at that time, my 30-year-old son had a heart attack and had 100% blockage in his lad, the Widowmaker. And due to the location of that, they were unable to do a stent. And Taylor had to go through major open heart surgery. So, not gonna lie, I was having a little PTSD over that. And I just want to explain our family dynamic a little bit. My sister is the most compassionate, next to my mom, the most compassionate person you will ever meet in your whole life. She is a very thoughtful, very caring, just a dynamic individual all the way around. She has always been that in our family. She has always been uber sensitive and just a very compassionate, caring person. I like to think that I'm the same way, but I fall short a lot. I'm a very organized, this is where we are, this is what we've got ahead of us. I'm a planner. I'm a behind the scenes try to get all that kind of stuff done. Who are we going to get to mow her grass? Because if you know my mom and you're familiar with her at all, she's a lot like myself, or I guess I'm a lot like her. Is we like our yards to be a certain way, we like our house to be a certain way, we like everything to be well organized and our cars clean, everything done to a T. And I took that from my mom. My sister, on the other hand, is fine to let everything go, and she is going to be right there alongside mom, step by step by step, and never going to leave the hospital, and never going to. And I'm glad she's like that. And we're very different people. So I'm very much a planner, very much organizer, thinking of all the things. Are bills paid? Or is this done? Grass, cats, all the things. Cat's been fed, grass been mowed, garbage taken out to the road. Because I know when my mom comes home, those are things she's thinking about. And so my sister is very much a caretaker, and it's been it takes a lot of all of that. But my mom went in the hospital on Monday. She was sent for a heart cath on Wednesday. and they determined that they could not take care of her at Decatur General. They sent her to Huntsville Hospital Wednesday night, where she met with a care team there. At first, we were told we would be having open heart surgery. We get there, the doctors take a look at all of her scans. They do more scans and determined that it was a decision we would have to make, but the risks were very, very high with her underlying conditions. She had two major blockages, 90% or better in the left main and in the right. She also has 65 to 79% blockages in her carotids, which we knew this from her stroke. But she also had some major blockage in the main arteries that lead from the legs to the heart, where they would normally go in to do the stent. So there was just a lot of underlying conditions with her being a former stroke patient. So there was just a lot for us to take in and consider for mom to make the decision to whether or not she would go through the very invasive surgery of having open heart surgery. 30 days in the hospital, another 20 days in rehab. What that looked like after the fact, and was the quality of life after worth the risk of possibly sending her into a stroke, having her bleed out, all the things. So a lot of emotions and concerns and prayers and all of that going up. But we had just had that doctor go out, and my sister and my aunt went for lunch or breakfast, I guess, and I was sitting in there with mom, and another doctor came in and said, "We feel like that we can do a stent." And at first, we were told that wasn't going to happen, but we feel like we can do a stent, and we feel like that we will give her a better quality of life. It's less invasive. She'll likely stay here a day or two, go home, where she will need someone with her for several weeks. But we feel like that this is a better chance. And his name was Dr. Reddy. And the relief that I saw on my mom's face was pretty incredible. But they came back in. My sister and my aunt got back up there. We were able to tell them the good news. Dr. Reddy came back in, talked to us at great length about the procedure. And this was at 11:30 on Friday afternoon, and said, "We will see you in the room at 1 o'clock." So we didn't have a ton of time to get our thoughts about us. We didn't have a lot of time to freak out more than we were already freaking out. But we called the family that could be there with her and see her before she went in for the procedure. And I'm not an overly religious person, but I'll go ahead and say this. They took our mom back, and there was a lot of people praying, and a lot of you that watch this podcast, a lot of you that are fans of the Alabama Pastoral, that even participate in the Alabama Pastoral, were sending love and prayers, and we felt those. Mom's church, my sister's church, my aunt's church, just people that had come in contact with my mom either through watching our kids play baseball, through the Alabama Pastoral. Just we felt so loved. And my mom read all of the comments and everything that was on Facebook after the fact, and even some during the time she was in the hospital. She couldn't get up and do a whole lot, so she did stay tuned into her Facebook, and we felt that. And so when they brought her out and they put her in her holding room, my sister and I were able to go back, and lo and behold, she was in the exact same recovery room that my son was in. And the PTSD, of course, kicked in then. Two of the hardest but best times in my life in that same room was pretty tough. But in both times, we had a great outcome. And I want to let you know she is at home and she's recovering. She is still very weak, and she is slow go. She's had her first checkup with her doctor, and we are working to get her back healthy. If you followed our story at all during her stroke, you know that my sister and I firmly believe that getting back on the road with the Alabama Bass Trail was what made her want to work so hard to get better from her stroke. And I believe that she is working to get better for Wheeler Lake. And now, whether or not she'll be slinging T-shirts and sweatshirts and hats and all of that, I don't know. But I do know that if she is capable of being there to give out hugs and wishes and thank yous, she will. She loves this Alabama Bass Trail. She prays for me and everyone involved daily, including the anglers, including the team. So I want to express from my sister and my family our sincere gratitude for your thoughts and prayers during this extremely difficult time. Most don't know our mom's all we've ever had. We had absent fathers, and she has worked her tail off to raise two little girls. And I keep wondering what the doctor thought when we walked in, and she had referred to us as little girls. But she is an amazing woman, and you are lucky to have her in your corner if you fish the Alabama Bass Trail. She loves every one of you. So thank you so much for your thoughts and prayers during an extremely difficult week for our family and for the coming weeks as we take turns in being there with her. I won't say really taking care of her because she doesn't really let you do that. But just being there with her to comfort and console her and share stories and times with her. It's you may not catch me in the office every day for the next few weeks, but I'm going to do my best to spend some time with her and fill in the gaps when my sister and my aunt can't be there. They understand what a busy time this is for the trail, but I'm going to do my best to be where my feet are, as I tell you guys to do that from time to time. So thank you so much, and our thoughts and hopes are that she will be with us there at Wheeler Lake and able to see everyone there. So I know she's really missed y'all. Let's talk a little bit about ICAST. I was out of the office all last week for ICAST. I had hoped to play in the golf tournament. And I want to say something. When my mother was told that she was okay and she would be able to go home in a couple days, she turned her head and looked at me and said, I expect that you go to ICAST. The Alabama Bass Trail needs those sponsors, and we need you to go to ICAST. And so it was her hope and wish that I go. My sister sitting in the waiting room said, you know, Mama would want you to go there. She doesn't want to hinder you from your job, and she knows how important that is. So, with their blessing, I rescheduled my trip and I made it into ICAST. Was able to have some really great appointments with our sponsors. I've heard lots of rumors about ICAST, and that is it as big as it's ever been? No, it's not. It was noticeably smaller. There were vendors there that are normally there that were visibly absent. There was not as many media partners there as we've seen in years past. So yeah, it was sizably smaller. I think they said they had about 650 vendors or 650 booths there. Again, that's freshwater, saltwater, and then lifestyle. When I say lifestyle, you're talking about Yeti, Turtle Box, clothing brands, hats, Richardson. There were some lifestyle type vendors there as well. But, 650 booths is still a considerable trade show, especially if you have a appointment at booth 128 and your next appointment is at 4802. Quite a bit of walking and all of that. I didn't check my watch, but a couple of times, and I think I averaged 4 to 6 miles a day walking the trade show floor and all of that. So it wasn't as big as it normally has been in the past. This is, I think, my 14th year to visit ICAST. And it maybe I missed one year. I think the year that Jake was in up for the MLB draft the first year, I think I missed it that year. But other than that, I think it's been 13, 14 years I've been. So it was noticeably smaller. It was not as many, there were not as many media people there. But is it still a good place to do business? I think for the most part, it was. For us, we got to have very intimate one-on-one meetings with our partners, some from Minnesota, some from Missouri, some from, upper Midwest that we would, could Zoom with, but there's just something about being able to shake hands with someone and sit down and hear their concerns face to face, and I still believe in that. I'm an old school banker, and I still believe there's something to be said for looking someone in the eye and giving them a handshake and really investing in the conversation. And I think that's more well done face to face. So, some reasons I think maybe ICAST might be, kind of getting a little smaller is Orlando is not cheap. I remember when you could do an Orlando trip and do round trip transportation airline ticket for under $300 from Birmingham to Orlando, and this time it was upwards of 400. When you tack on a bag fee, and then it's a $30 Uber trip to and from the airport. If you rent a car, it's $60 or $70 a night to valet there. Hotel rooms average $300 to $450 a night. If you're close to the convention center, I think Chick-fil-A sandwich, bag of chips and a drink was around 20 bucks. I had a protein bowl one day and it was $22. I had a bottle of water with it, so it was $22. So it is an expensive place to go. I have zero idea what it costs to exhibit there, but some of the booths have 10 to 12 people attending those. If they're a large booth, like a Strike King or Rapala, American Baitworks had several people there. So it can get expensive to house and feed and transport that many people. So, and it's not a consumer show. I mean, it basically is a business forum. It's a business showcase. New products are launched. I did not have a media badge this year, and I did not get to see the new product showcase, but there were some new products announced. I think there's some uncertainty about tariffs and how that's going to affect the industry. But there's deals made all the time in Washington, and so we don't really know what those are going to do. I know there was a class about that several of our partners participated in, but we expect to see some shakeout from that. So stand by. But I think if you are a small media partner, I think that may be cost, maybe one of the reasons that prohibited them from coming there. And it's been at Orlando several years. So, yes, it's good because everybody kind of knows the routine. Everybody knows where, to stay and all that. But it's hot. It is uncomfortable in Orlando in July. You have dance competitions, pageants, other conventions going on that drive hotel room cost up. But and the great thing is it's very convenient. I mean, it is very centrally located for hotels in the convention center. Plenty of restaurants, plenty of things to do after hours if you'd like to. So I see why they choose Orlando. It does tend to lend itself to family vacations around a work trip. Of course, my kids are older, and we've, my husband and I've done Orlando, so it's not something that he's just anxious to do. So I tend to go by myself and get a chance to kind of meet and hang out with some other people. So I did have an opportunity to go to dinner with my great friends, Gerald and Leanne Swindle, Andy Morgan and his sweet wife, Wesley Strader and Stephanie, James Watson and his girlfriend on Thursday night. Had a lovely dinner, lots of conversation, industry, of course, conversation, and just personal conversation. So that was fun. Enjoyed a meal at the Capitol Grill. Otherwise, didn't really do a whole lot as far as dinner and all that went. But for me, it was a great show. Angela spent some time in meetings with me, but she basically spent her time meeting with different media production companies and so on as we looked at different avenues for the Alabama Bass Trail in the next 18 to 24 months. So it's always good to see what's out there, see what's up and coming, and see what we can be looking for to extend the power and the word of the Alabama Bass Trail. So she spent a lot of time doing that. So on that forefront and in that way, ICAST is still a very viable option for us. And I hope that there is some means to the madness and that they can continue to maintain that show. I am also looking forward to going to the ASA Sportfish Summit. It is much more of a policy type summit. We really focus on state and federal assistance programs as well as regulations and things like that. So looking forward to that. It's the first week of October leading into our championship, and really looking forward to that, meeting again some of our partners there that we share real concerns with in the industry, not just from a standpoint of an event holder, but from the slot limit. That's a regulation and a policy that we needed help with, and they have a lot of lobbyists and they have a lot of political ties in the ASA company. So we are glad to be a part of that organization and look forward to being at their next event in October. So I personally didn't get to see a lot of the new stuff. It's just not what I'm down there for. So I'm sure you guys all saw the videos on social media, and I did see that someone posted a video about it. It was just a week long of, hey guys, we're here at the ICAST 2025, blah, blah, blah. And of course, yes, just like I always start my video off with who I am and director of the Alabama Bass Trail. But there was some really cool stuff going on there, and it was everything from sunglasses to crankbaits to new plastics to new rods and reels and coolers and the Grande turtle box. I mean, there was lots of things there. So lots of new products, lots of interesting products, and a lot of old faces and some new faces in the industry. So good to see a lot of family and friends there. So, all right. Next up, I did promise you guys a couple weeks ago an interview with Mr. Joe Lucarelli. I hope Joe will allow me to share the fun story of how he and I met. He has joined the Alabama Bass Trail 100. He's fishing with Brent Crowe in the 2025 season, and for some reason, he decided he would fish with Brent Crowe again. So we're going to talk about how he met Brent, how he and I got acquainted, and then his experience in bass fishing. Got a lot of MLF numbers that we'll talk about a little bit, and then talk about his experience on the Alabama Bass Trail 100 when he joins us from Benton, Kentucky in just a little bit. So stay tuned. Again, thank you so much for your grace. Thank you for your thoughts and prayers for my mom. And we'll be back in just a minute. You're going to want to stay tuned and hear from Mr. Joe Lucarelli from Precision Sonar. So y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Research and development is more than just time in the shop for us. It's time out here. Sweating the details. Making boats that work as well in the real world as they do on paper. From our R&D team to our anglers on the water, we have the knowledge and passion to build you the finest fishing platform in the world.
Welcome back to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast, presented by Phoenix Boats and a Phoenix boat owner himself, Mr. Joe Lucarelli with Precision Sonar, joining the podcast today. Welcome aboard, sir.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I mean, I can't, Mr. Ken himself, I guess I should say. For a long time, I thought your name was Ken, and I think it's only fair to let people know how we met, because when you came to the Alabama Bass Trail 100, you got a heck of a introduction at Lake Guntersville. Like, I really gave you all the energy that I had.
It was a big glow up. It really was for me. Yeah.
I was trying, but people have to understand. So after registration happened, Luke Duncan and I are kind of on the phone talking about things, and he goes, well, who's Brent Crowe fishing with? And I said, a guy named Joe Lucarelli. I said, I met him at a party that Brent had at his house. It was kind of a Halloween/housewarming party. And he goes, wait just a minute. The Lake Champlain legend, Joe Lucarelli? And I said, I guess. I said, what I need to know is, have you ever seen this guy in a matching set and a blonde wig? I'm not going to lie. Luke Duncan was speechless.
And probably terrified at the same time. I don't blame him. It was a scene. It was an absolute
And I
scene.
wish I had a photo to insert here so everyone could enjoy it as much as I did that night. But it was a costume party, and I don't do really well at costume parties. So, but you rocked it. You and Kim were the best.
Kim was fantastic. Yes, she
Yeah.
was dressed to the nines. That's for sure.
Kim,
It was
if
good. It
every
was a good time.
It was a good time. First time I got to meet you. And of course, a lot of dock talk. Y'all had fished a tournament that day, I think, on Smith Lake. So a lot of dock talk, a lot of just kind of getting to know each
Yeah,
other. A lot of, I mean, as people do, fishermen do when you get together, a little bit of griping and complaining and gossiping and all the things, right?
all the things. Yep,
All the things.
typical tournament stuff that you never deal with, right? It
No,
never. Yeah, no.
no, everything over here's roses and
Sunshine,
sunshine. So
rainbow.
rainbows and sunshine and roses and just candy kisses over here. Let's talk a little bit about the name, the Lake Champlain legend. So,
So I would never give myself that name. So
really,
no, there was a period of time I spent a lot of time on that lake, so I was pretty dialed in. I lived at that time. I lived in New Hampshire, and just figured out at a young age if I wanted to kind of get into that next level, I had to obviously fish some larger things, whether it were Bass Opens or back then it was Everstarts or Rayovacs, all that stuff. Now Toyotas, but um, the closest national tournament trail lake was Lake Champlain, and close was about 3 hours and 45 minutes from my house. So I was working 50-hour work week, and any time off I had, I would basically I'd get up about 3:30 in the morning, drive to Champlain, get on the water 7 something in the morning, fish till 5:30, drive home, get home at 9, and go to work the next day. So I was just constantly doing that just to try and get a feel for the lake, knowing that big events were going there, and that was basically a 5-year period of my life where I just put a ton of work into that place, and it paid off. I had some good finishes there, and that kind of cut my teeth there with the big
so
stuff.
if my research serves me correctly, you have 10 top tens, and seven of those came on Lake Champlain. So
Yeah.
I would say that you did fairly well there. I think Thousand Islands, was that where you got your win? Did you win?
So I won a Toyota on Thousand Islands. I won a Bass Open on Champlain,
Okay.
and came in second to my dad in a Toyota, or what I can't remember, Everstart on Champlain. So that was neat. So he won that tournament. I came in second.
How cool. Both on
Yeah.
the pro side, I guess. Okay.
Yep.
I didn't see any bass numbers. I failed to get any BASS numbers for you. So I was looking at, but based on what I saw, you had like 58 MLF tournaments and you had 10 top 10s. So, I
Yeah.
mean, about every six tournament, dude, you're hitting a top 10. So pretty good record there.
Yeah. It was a good little run. And then life happens and you work more and things like that. And yeah, so I just, as everybody knows, the more time you put on the water, the better you're going to be. So that's basically what it comes down to. Took a
So
little
you,
back there.
so you moved from the Northeast to the south in Benton, Kentucky area. So
Right.
moved with your job, I guess.
I did. So I had always wanted to, every year, every winter up there was just worse and worse and worse. Just, there was nothing there for me to do in the wintertime. I was in the power sports business, so snowmobiles, boats, just recreational boats, not bass boats or anything like that. But I always wanted to, I was in sales on that side, and I always wanted to get involved somehow in the fishing industry. And the Northeast is really not a place to get into the fishing industry. So I had an opportunity with Precision Sonar. We had worked together with my dad, and I had come up with a Ninja grass blade, which cuts grass. It's for fishing grass, mats, and all that. So they ended up selling the blade, and that was kind of my introduction with Precision Sonar. An opportunity happened, so I took it, and here I am in
And here
Kentucky.
you are. Here you are in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Awesome. What else are you fishing now other than the Alabama Bass Pro 100s?
So I'll sneak into a Toyota or a Bass Open on Kentucky Lake. I will say this: Kentucky Lake, just having traveled around the country and fishing these events, Kentucky Lake was very difficult for me. It literally took me about a year to even feel comfortable on this place. Uh, Out of all the TBA lakes, I definitely think this one is the most tricky. Um, but once you kind of figure it out, you can roll with it and you can duplicate. But it's on the upswing. It 2018 was kind of the low point of it. 19, 20, like any lake, it goes through cycles, and it's way on the uptick now. 2 or 3 years from now, I think this place is going to be a top 10 lake in the country.
Hmm.
Um, the
Depending on who
smallmouth,
you ask and depending on how they rank things and all the
yeah,
things.
exactly. And I get what you're saying on that one. But yeah, the smallmouth are thriving and the largemouth are coming back strong. So you'll see 27, 28 pound bags here again with mixed bags. So it'll be neat.
Well, I know that federally they're doing some things to help combat the Asian and silver carp there, and I've been watching that through the money that's been allocated for the different, whether it be the sound barriers on the dams and the different things that they're doing, rewarding some of the Asian carp commercial fishermen by paying them extra bonuses and things like that to try to eradicate that. I don't know that we'll ever eradicate it, but good to see. I mean, I watched the Bass Team Championship there last winter, which was absolutely brutal conditions. I'm very thankful that I did not weather the storm and go up there, but
Yeah.
did see, some guys do really well there. But I've watched some of the weights over the past couple months, and it does seem like that we're getting back to the old Kentucky Lake that we knew 10 years ago, 10,
Yeah,
12
and
years
I
ago.
think a lot of that, everybody talks about the Asian carp being the issue. It was obviously a cycle. It was just a bad timing thing on the carp. It more moved the bass than they just left.
Hmm.
Obviously, the numbers were down, but they had about a 4 year spawn cycle here that was really bad.
Hmm.
So the water came up real high during the spawn, and then they had to dump all that water. And a lot of those places were dry
Hmm.
where they were trying to bed. So it messed up about 4 year cycle. But I can't believe just in a year and a half how there were so many 12 and 13 inches, and now
Hmm.
they're basically 2.5, 2 3/4. They just grow
Hmm.
so fast down here versus the north.
Hmm.
So I'm not used to that part of it, but yeah, this place is going to be special here in a little bit.
Good, good. Glad to have you in the South, my friend. So
Thank you. I'm happy
we've
to be here.
talked we've talked about your MLF and your bass experience. So I gotta say, you may have us scratching our head a tad bit fishing with Mr. Brent Crow. So how long have you known Brent?
I tried to figure that out. I had met him a long time ago, and I guess when you've done this, I think I fished my first. I guess you would call it a pro or a pro am or whatever. Probably when I was 19. So
Well, you're only 25, right?
yeah, yeah, I'm only 25. I have sneakers that are 25 years old. So I don't know exactly where in the mix I bumped into him, and then I re kind of we kind of we're staying at the same place again, and it just kind of rekindled. So it was up on Thousand Islands, and he was staying in the same cabin area that we were. The rest is history. So
Okay.
try and balance him out a little bit, keep him laughing.
Yeah. Um, Exactly. And we talk about in team tournaments the chemistry between team members. And I give Brent a hard time. I mean, I have to. I mean, we're basically like brother and sister. For
Yeah,
those of you who don't know, when I started the Alabama Bass Trail, Brent actually worked alongside me for like 5 or 6 months as we started kind of just figuring out what would work, what wouldn't work, all the things. So he worked alongside me. So we got to be very good friends. And then him and his wife sold my house last summer. So we are very good friends. But Brent is, he also tell you that I don't cut him any slack either. So just because we're friends. So he talked you in, I guess, to fishing the Alabama Bass Trail 100 with him.
yeah. It was actually a gunpoint.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I
it was not a lot
I
of
can
talking.
see
He
that.
said,
I can.
you're going to fish this with me. We're going to have a good time. I said, okay, let's do it. Okay, don't you? Yeah, it wasn't hard to twist my arm on that. I just, I had heard about ABT for years. I heard about ABT when I was still north. So it's just especially the 100s, it's kind of sought after, something that everybody should fish, or north or south, just get involved with it. Um, but I never, my first tournament on Gunnersville for ABT 100, I was just shocked. It, I fished every organization, and I was just, my mind was blown at the equipment, the staff, just like it's just run so well. And it was just amazing to me. Fish care, everything. It was real neat. So 2026 was an easy yes for me.
Good, good. Well, I know you came up a couple days early, and some of these lakes you haven't been to. I know you've probably been to Gunnersville. I mean, most people have. If you've ever fished in your life, you've been to Gunnersville. But the other two lakes, have you spent any? You've never been to Lake Eufaula, correct?
Never been there. It acted like a TVA lake-ish, just
Hmm.
less flow. But I miss fishing grass. So like on Kentucky Lake, there's zero grass. It used to have grass. Now it's been gone for a long time. But just to get up and fish some bank grass on Eufaula was fun for me. I didn't really catch a bunch in the grass, but it was just nice to do something different and see some different places. And even I'd never been to Gunnersville either.
Oh,
I never,
really?
I'd never been there, and it was always a bucket list place for me to fish just because of the grass, and they do have a ledge bite, and so there's a lot of learning experience there. I'm just really excited that for 2026, the ABT 100 Championship is going to be on Champlain. It's going to be perfect. It's it's going to be in August. The weather's going to be great. It'll be such a nice break from the south. I'm so happy for that.
Oh, the emails that I'm going to get over that little comment, Mr.
Yeah,
Lucarelli.
you're not busy enough as it is.
No,
I
no, no.
slide that in there.
Yeah. Wilson Lake, I just want to kind of look at your, I mean, Lake Gunnersville, y'all had a 45th place finish. I know that that is way outside of your expectations of that. I know it was outside Brent's expectations. Crazy weather, like Thursday, the wind just blew crazy on Thursday. Had pretty calm day on Friday, bluebird skies. And then Saturday, of course, it's overcast. And then at like 12 o'clock, the whole lake seemed to be just fogged in.
It was
That,
weird. Yeah. It was one of those days like I refer to it as because in the morning it wasn't as
right.
we had that cloud cover, and it kind of held some of that temperature overnight or from the day before. And it was one of those days that were, I call it deteriorating.
Mm-hmm.
So as the day goes on, it's supposed to get warmer, and it was getting colder. So there was a bite window in the morning where it was decent, and then it got tricky. But
Yeah.
learned a ton on that one. I mean, I think water temp was like 45, 46, and those fish just did not care. They would chase, and it was just a different world. Big eye opener for me.
Cool. And you got a little TV time.
You got a
Got a
little
little,
TV time? Yeah. Yeah, got to talk to Luke a little bit. Yeah,
got to talk to Luke a little bit. And what about the butt seat, dude? I mean, does Brent just have that back there because you're
it's
old?
over. It's over now. I told him that we can't do that anymore. So yeah, I told him if it was in the boat again for the tournament that I was going to throw it in the water. I was kind of kidding.
No, you aren't.
No, I
No,
was
you
not.
aren't. No, no, you aren't.
Yeah, that's yeah. But I love it when he's got that thing in there because I always know where he is.
Yeah.
Because he's the only dude in the world that rocks that on the back, especially in a Phoenix. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm like, where's Brad? Oh, there he is. Yeah, perfect.
I
That's
love it.
good.
And he's going to love this podcast because we're just throwing darts at him the entire
No.
time. So that's great. That's great. You talked about Lake Eufaula. You had a 27th place finish there, of course, improving there. So based on my math, you should have a top 10 finish at Wilson.
So Wilson is the closest one to me. Um,
Yeah. How far was Eufaula for you?
7.5 hours,
Okay.
but it was all downhill. So it was, it took longer getting when I had to come home. But um, so yeah, that was far. I didn't know that they had alligators in there, so that was interesting. I didn't know.
Big gators, Not just alligators, but big uns.
Big old big ones. Yeah, that was news to me. I'm like, is that
Can
an
you
alligator?
can you believe that people actually hang out in that lake and they pontoon and they have a party island and people like go there and get out of their boats?
No, hard no. Mm-mm. No.
There is no way. Shane Powell says, "Well, we've got this area and everybody just kind of hangs out here and we beach our boats and all this." I'm like, dude, there's no way.
Mm-mm.
No way. I'm done. I'm not doing it. So,
I'd be on the
uh,
top of a pontoon boat, like where they have those little places you can hang out on the top. Yeah, that's where I would be hanging out.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Any thoughts on Wilson? Have you ever been to Wilson?
I've never been to Wilson, but I feel like just gaining some knowledge of Kentucky Lake.
Hmm.
I fish Pickwick, um, so hopefully some of that will carry over to Wilson. But I'll be able to get down there at least the weekend before
Okay.
and put some time in. So that'll be nice because I've typically only I can just with work being so busy and it it's tricky. I'll get 2 days of practice, but some days like on Gunnersville, it was so windy, you really couldn't
Hmm.
get a lot accomplished. So
Hmm.
that was tricky. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one where I'll be able to bring a little bit more to the party in terms of practice and all that.
Cool. Cool. I'm looking forward to Wilson. We've never had an Alabama bass trail there. But I'm looking forward to it. It's a little bit smaller body of water, but with the small field of 100, I think it'll be a really fun event. But again, if the
Sure.
math works correctly and you continue to improve like you have these last two, I mean, I'm expecting top 10, top nine finish from you guys.
That's all. You're really stacking it high there.
I mean, I'm just putting it out there. I mean, no pressure,
No
anything
pressure.
like that. No, 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 no.
I will say the competition on ABT side on the 100s is just super strong. Like you can't make a mistake. We had one fish that died in the weigh-in line at Eufaula. It just happened.
Hmm.
We were super good with the fish and fish care and all that. It just happens, and that fish doesn't die, and we get a check. So
Yeah.
it's just the way it works. I'm sure other people had fish that didn't come to the party at the end too, but
Yeah. Yeah,
it was
that's a
hot.
tough thing with those summertime tournaments. I mean, I absolutely hate June tournaments. I wish we could fish January through May. It's just hard. As many tournament trails as there are in the state of Alabama, and trying to get those tournaments on lakes when they're really thriving, and so that people have a fun time catching. Because we've had some that we didn't have a whole lot of fish catches. Neely Henry in February wasn't great for that. But
Sure.
is there let's talk about 2026 again. I said this, you're giving Brent Crow one more shot of ruining your reputation out here on the
He's
Alabama Bass
he's
Trail
gi- he's
100.
he's giving me one more shot. I got to step my game up a little.
Well, I mean, he is no stranger to Smith Lake, so that's got to be exciting to be able to come down here. I know you've been on Smith before in an October event. Have you ever fished early on Smith?
I have not, but I kind of think I know what to do.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna let you leave it at that. So Smith Lake in January, moving over to Neely. Henry, any experience on Neely?
None. Just from what I've heard, it fishes a little bit. I would say rougher. You can be a little more rough there,
Hmm.
which I like. Just kind of our stuff, and that'll be that'll be a good one. That'll be interesting. Looking forward to that one as well.
And
And
then we're going to finish up on Lake Jordan, the smallest lake in the Alabama Bass Trail, 6,600 acres, but has produced 20 bags over 20 pounds before in an Alabama Bass Trail event. I don't know that it'll do it in the fall, but we did have almost a 30-pound, I think a 30-pound bag weighed in last year during the Black Friday tournament. So could be a heck of a tournament.
that's going to be, I think, one of those deals where current's going to play. So it could shape up to be the perfect storm, or not. But it could be lights out.
Hmm.
Could be a lot of fun.
Brent's had some really good tournaments on Lake Jordan. He and Rex made
Mhm.
TV gold there, couple years into the Alabama Bass Trail when they had their Angler of the Year run. They made some TV gold, so it's going to be interesting to see him back on Lake Jordan. He hadn't fished there in a couple years just simply because he quit fishing the South. So it's going to be interesting to see you guys back there. But before I let you go, you want to turn into the interviewer and me be the interviewee.
Yep.
And I am a little scared. I'm not even going to lie.
You're going to be just fine. I think you're going to be okay
I
on
think
this.
I need something a little stronger than a Celsius.
Yeah, you might. Uh,
Mm.
see, oh, let me look through. Let me look through here. Yeah, you're probably
Okay.
good.
Okay. All right. I'm ready. I'm
All
ready.
right,
I
here
do
we
want to say
go.
I've not heard any of this before.
Miss K, if you were not the director of the ABT, what would you be doing?
I have always loved working in the tourism industry, and I would probably want to continue to work in the tourism industry in some facet, more on a state level, I think. Have zero desire to work for the Department of Conservation, but I would like to work in the tourism industry. It's a fun industry. You create memories for people and their vacationing, and the who goes on vacation just has a terrible time. So I think working in the tourism industry, I'd still want to do something in the tourism industry.
Interesting. All right, well said. Um, what is the favorite part? What's your favorite part of your job?
Hmm. Um,
This is this
I
you seem
mean,
like
yeah, you're getting me. I have a lot of favorite parts. Funny enough, boat check, back when they used to let me work boat check, was my favorite part. I'm a morning person, so I have lots of energy in the morning and then I kind of start tailing off at the end of weigh in. And that could be for everything that's going on. And I think that's one of the things most people don't understand. They just see it from the outside looking in. They have no idea of all the parts and pieces. So by the end of weigh in, like my mind and my brain is just fried. So I love boat check. It's one of my favorite times. But I think,
you start your day at like 2:30 in the morning, don't you?
which
That's
means I leave the hotel by 2 to get to my camper by 2:30. And I mean, sometimes I'm a little closer and I don't have to do that. But a lot of times, when I show up at the boat ramp, hair's not done, makeup's not on, probably don't have on what I'm going to be wearing for that day. So I get ready in that camper and then it is all, you know,
go, go, go.
audio checks. We're checking on the tractor trackers. We're making sure iPads and earpods and all the things are charged for the team.
Sure.
Cameras are charged. So yeah, it's go, go, go. But up at 2 o'clock, camper by 2:30. And then sometimes we go live by 5. So the earlier we go live, the earlier I'm at the camper. So but I think overall, if I had to look at the 12 years of Alabama Bass Trail and what my favorite part has been, it is watching people like Bailey Dukes go from being a freshman in high school to he gets married this fall. Um, and Cole Godwin the same way, and watching CJ Knight be a freshman in college and now he's married and got a 3-year-old, or I think that's kind of what the most fun for me. I guess being a mom, it's fun to watch that and kind of be the mom on the Alabama Bass Trail, and just kind of watch the progression. I mean, honestly, you would have never made me believe that people would sit up or get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to register for the Alabama Bass Trail. And the main reason we moved it to morning is because people were setting up to 1 o'clock on the eastern coast. They were
Sure.
setting up to 1 a.m. to register when we opened it at midnight. And I never thought that would happen. But overall, just seeing young men and women, uh, kids grow into young men and women and still fish the Alabama Bass Trail and bring their kids out to see us, and that's probably been the coolest part of being the director of the Alabama Bass Trail.
That's neat. That's real cool. So I asked that question to ask this one. What is your least favorite part of your job?
Um, hmm. Most people would probably expect 2 a.m. wake up calls or whatever, but that's really not it. I mean, I don't mind those. I think I think dealing with people who aren't educated on matters, that think that they are the voice or think that they are think that they know what's going on when they don't.
Sure.
And social media has created a lot of that. So I think, probably dealing with mom's basement people, and even not mom's basement people, very public people who um, have very valid things that they like to talk about. But I don't want to say uneducated because that's really not it. They're just not educated on
A certain
all
subject.
of the nuances, you
Sure.
know. Um, and I love when people say, well, I can add it up and figure out this. Well, you don't know all of the parts of the equation to be able to get to the final answer. So I think social media has done so much for our sport in a positive way. It's given everybody an opportunity to showcase their talent. It's been a huge asset, but it has also been one of the
Double-edged sword.
trip hazards, I guess. But yeah,
Sure.
I guess dealing with people who love to share their opinion, but oftentimes don't know what they're talking about.
Understood. Um, and last but not least, I'll ease up on you.
Okay.
Um, has there ever been any talk about solo events in the ABT?
We are asked about solo events a lot. We're asked about that usually almost as much as we're asked if we're going to do a kayak trail. Um, there's a there's an interest in solo events. I know RIP the Top Rod. I hear that all the time. Kay ruined the Top Rod series. I think there is a place for that. I just don't know with our schedule. And I admit, I said this earlier, there's so many tournament trails in the state of Alabama. You've got Airport, Sylacauga, Coosa River. The airport's got, I don't even know how many trails they have. And then when you enter the opens in the Toyota series and all of that, it's really hard to schedule events. So it would be, I'm not going to say never, but we found our niche in team tournaments. And honestly, with expenses and all the things, limited travel for most people, I know you
Sure.
have a lot more travel. I would never say never, but it would be, it'd be hard. It'd be hard. It just, it would be hard to fit them in and have, because you know as well as I do, you have to have participation for you to have payouts.
Sure.
We've seen payouts in the opens go down. We've seen payouts in the Toyota series go down. You have the same participation in the Bass Elites, but you haven't seen the payout grow. So payouts are what attract anglers, and that's first, and then the competition level is second. And then does it feed into something else? Is there a Bassmaster Classic that I can go to? Can I qualify for the elites? Can I qualify for the BPT? So I think
Sure.
when you look at the hierarchy of how people select where they fish, payout is there. I mean, and so in order to do that, you got to have a solid entry fee and a solid participation. So, and I would be competing in the opens in the Toyota series and all of that for 150 anglers. So, I think we got to see what the economy does. I think there are some changes coming to the Alabama Bass Trail in the next 18 to 24 months
Exciting.
that I think are positive. But a solo trail is discussed often for sure.
Gotcha. Well said. That's all I got for you. I'm going to let you off the hook.
I was afraid you were going to ask me how many bush lights I drink in a week. That's what I
No,
was.
no,
I mean,
no.
like I was worried. I don't have enough of fingers and toes to count.
This is all business here. I mean, I
All
gotta work.
business. Okay. 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 All right. Well, yeah, that's a good thing because some weeks are better. Some weeks are 100%. I'm waiting on the clock to ding at 5 o'clock. That's for sure. So, but good questions.
Thank you.
You
Appreciate
should
it.
maybe have your own podcast.
I mean, I've been talking to Luke, and he really helped through it.
Oh yeah. Well, he can help or hinder, one of the two. It depends on what mood he's in. But yeah, Luke's a good one. I enjoy having him on the podcast. I enjoy being on his podcast and having him on ABT Live. And That's kind of cool to go back and be able to watch some of the other people fish and see what they're doing differently than what you're doing when you get off the water, isn't it? I
I
think
agree. It's just, you miss something, or maybe you did run into that pocket and said, it didn't look that good. You didn't even fish it. Somebody's, you know, doing well in that pocket. So yeah,
whaling on it.
it's very cool. Very cool.
Well, good deal. Good deal. Well, I want to thank you for taking time and thank the great people at Precision Sonar for giving you some time to be on the Alabama Bass Trail podcast. I look forward to seeing you in November. If I don't see you before, I don't know if there's a time that our paths are going to cross before.
You never know in this line of work where they'll send me next.
That's right. You were here a couple weeks ago in Alabama, but I was, of course, my mother was in the hospital and you gave me some grace there. I wasn't able to come down
Sure.
and visit you at the Deer Expo. That is one of my favorite shows. I do like to go to that show, even though I don't hunt. It
It
is
was
one of my favorite
great.
shows.
It was great. The turnout was great. I'm not, obviously, I don't, we sell one product. That's on the hunting side. It's an electronic tree stand. So it's a pretty neat thing, and not many people have seen it. So yeah, we're just trying to get that up and running. New product.
Well, it's a great show. It has been. I used to exhibit at that show all the time with Alabama Mountain Lakes, our North Alabama tourism group, and used to do that show all the time. I haven't been there in several years, but I saw tons of stuff about it on social and it looked like it was a good turnout. So hopefully I will see you before November. Everybody needs a little Joe Lucarelli in their life. Sometimes it is it is great for comic relief, that's for sure.
Hey, I still have the outfit. I might next time you see me. Hey, I might be a little too chilly for the Ken outfit, but maybe the wig might come out.
I would love that.
Boat
I
check.
mean, we've had some wigs on the Alabama Bass Trail. Anthony Goggins has a great mullet wig that he wears when he doesn't want to be noticed. And so, I mean, it wouldn't be crazy for you to come out with a Ken wig.
Never know.
All right.
Never.
There you have it, Mr. Joe Lucarelli from Benton, Kentucky, talking to us. Thank you so much, Joe, for being on today, and we'll see you in November.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, guys, there you have it. Mr. Joe Lucarelli, ABT 100 Angler, and as Luke Duncan says, the Lake Champlain legend. We'll be back in just a minute with the final segment of the Alabama Bass Trail podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. Y'all stay tuned.
Things you let me see. Things you let me see.
Welcome back to the third and final segment of the Alabama Bass Trail podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. I want to thank Mr. Joe Lucarelli for being on with us and for ripping up and down the roads and the lake with his Phoenix Bass Boat. He is a proud Phoenix Bass Boat owner. I do want to say our Smith Lake show aired this Sunday on FanDuel. If you missed it, it'll have a couple more re-airs this week, and it will be on Sunday as well. Your next tournament on August the 3rd will be Lake Martin, so tune in to FanDuel. It is 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Central Time. And you can also check it out on our YouTube channel, Alabama Bass Trail TV. So starting to get those shows rolling. Each one will air 2 times in a row until we get caught up in our editing and process. So just make sure that you're tuning in there. But the big news, 8 days to priority registration opens for the 2026 Alabama Bass Trail Series. Guys that are currently fishing Alabama Bass Trail have 14 days of priority registration. They'll need to use their team ID and PIN number from the 2025 season to access their priority registration. Only if you are fishing with the teammate that you fished with this year can you use priority registration. 23 days or August the 15th at 5:30 a.m. is when new team registration will open. So make sure that you have all of your information. We'll be doing a couple lives leading up to that to let you know all the information that you need. We'll try to get you all the screens and all the things that you need to be prepared for registration. As a matter of fact, the talk of ICAST was how quickly that it would sell out. Luke said 5 minutes. I think it'll take a little bit longer than that. There is a lot of information to fill out. I was blown away by 7 minutes last year. So, but we are getting tons of calls and tons of text messages and emails and Facebook messages regarding registration. So if you are interested in doing that, we'll go live at 5:15 a.m. on August the 15th. We'll be doing a live from right here in my house, in my home office, talking about registration. I'll let you know how many spots we have available. I will follow along with you until we are sold out or until y'all just get tired of listening to me. So we'll be doing that on August the 15th. Always a big day in the Alabama Bass Trail world. Everything shuts down on Alabama Bass Trail registration day. So I do want to remind you, if you did not get in the 2026 Alabama Bass Trail 100, you can still get on the waiting list. There are 9 teams there, but we've already used 2 out of that. So there are currently 7 teams still sitting out there on the waiting list. It doesn't cost you anything. There's no deposit required to get on the waiting list. Just make sure you go to alabamabasstrail100.org, click on register. It will then ask you to add yourself to the waiting list. You'll have to put in a little bit of information there. That way I can contact you if we have a team that backs out and we get down to your name. Typically, we get down to 6 or 7 during the at the December 1st deadline. So we've already used 2. So there's a good chance if you're on the waiting list now that we will make it down to you. But we will keep a check on that as we go through the next few months. As you know, on Sunday, I made a post about one of our anglers who had had a massive heart attack. And again, this hit so close to home because my mom and my son have both gone through this. But I have been okay to release his name. ABT100 Angler, former North angler Jason Cannon, suffered a heart attack on Saturday in his home with his wife there with him. She was able to start CPR, recognize the signs very quickly, and was able to do CPR until the medical professionals arrived. They did have to shock him several times. He is in ICU at a local hospital there. He has underwent a stent. They have inserted a stent into his LAD, which is your widowmaker artery, your left main artery. He is recovering. He is expected to make a full recovery. I'm not sure his age. I know he's younger than me. Has 2 small children and a wife, so please keep them in your thoughts and prayers as he makes his recovery. But I felt that it is very important to talk about this. It is hit very close to home. I know another one of our anglers that have gone through something very similar just recently. So I want to talk about this. And these are symptoms that you should not brush off. Pay close attention to this. And it doesn't matter your age. Jason is probably in his early 40s, and my son was 30. And 30 in just a couple months, and he suffered a major heart attack. So listen to these and don't just brush these off, and don't just think that you've gotten too hot or you've overexerted yourself. Please keep a check on these. Pain in your chest, of course. My mom's was more into her left side. Taylor's was more in the center of his chest. Both experienced nausea, a little not vomiting, but very nauseated, profuse sweating, shortness of breath. Some people complain of pain in their lower jaw area, especially in women. But sweating, heart palpitations, feeling like you're anxious or that you maybe have an anxiety. All of those are very clear signs of a heart attack. The worst thing you can do is ignore those and let them get worse. Don't be embarrassed to go to the hospital and find out that it wasn't something that was major. But worse, just pay attention to those. Again, pain in your chest, either running from one side to one arm or both, nausea or vomiting, shortness of breath, pain in your jaw, profuse sweating. My mom said she sweated through her clothes. And then heart palpitations or feeling over anxious during some of those other events. So I do want to reiterate to please pay attention to these signs and symptoms of heart disease. Make sure that you're going for your yearly checkups, watch your cholesterol, watch all those things. We are experiencing this more and more, and I just having gone through it twice just recently, I just want to remind everybody of that. We typically kick off our season in February, which is also National Heart Month. I hope to be working with the two communities that will be kicking off our season in to organize something especially for the American Heart Association. Last year we did a walk for Taylor. We raised money for the heart pillows. So hopefully we'll be able to do something for the American Heart Association. It's very, very important to my family and to my Alabama Bass Trail family. So y'all stay tuned in the coming months. Hopefully we'll be able to get some details worked out for that, whether it is a walk or whether it is donations that we take that contribute to the pillows, and they're very, very vital for people that have gone through heart surgery. So just kind of keep an eye and ear out for details that will surround those first two events. We'll be kicking off at Lake Gunnersville and at Lake Jordan. So thank y'all so much. But that does it for today's podcast. And I'm going to keep saying this, and I'm going to say it over and over and over and over. Hug your mom and them. You never know when it might be your last opportunity. And so just make sure that you hug your mom and them. Call them on the phone. Tell them that you love them. If you can't get to them, and give them a hug. Let them know that you're thinking about them and that you love them. And take time to enjoy the small things, whether it's a card game, whether it's sitting outside having a bowl of homemade ice cream, whatever that is. Make sure that you take time to enjoy that. And I know that I'm going to try to do that more and more myself. Get out and enjoy the great outdoors. You may need to wait till it cools off a little bit. It's going to be 100 degrees in Alabama this week. So you may have to wait till it cools off a little bit, but make sure that you get out and enjoy the great outdoors. Take those last minute vacations before school starts back. I want to say it's like in a week and a half, schools in Alabama are going to start back. So make sure you take those extra little weekend vacations or weekday vacations and enjoy time with your kids and get out and enjoy the great things in the state of Alabama. Y'all have a great one. We'll see you next week here on the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. God bless. Good fishing and peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast. To learn more about the Alabama Bass Trail, make sure and visit alabamabasstrail.org.